trans awards have been stripped away.
Oh no!
Can you play that video for us, Mr. Producer?
Here we go.
We get it up.
Well, people are upset that Trump has caused trans swimmer Lia Thomas to not only lose all their trophies, but have their whole swimming record revoked. Their record in women's sports anyways. Don't scroll, let me explain. As you guys know, UPenn was one of the only schools still allowing trans women to compete in women's sports. And because of that, the Trump administration cut their funding, $175 million. Because of that, not only Penn has agreed to stop allowing trans athletes to compete in women's sports, they have now decided to remove all Lia Thomas's records. You could pause to read your sub, but that basically means that all UPenn female athletes that lost their records to Lia get it all back. Trophies, they get it all back. Everything, they get it all back. Anybody that lost to her, they get it all back. This is Lia's record when they were competing in men's sports, after the transition, and post, you know. People on social media are not happy about this, stating that they just ruined somebody's hard work, stating that they deserve to swim where they feel most comfortable at. And some making the argument that what happened to women can do anything that a man can do, which led other people to say, yes, women can do anything that a man can do, but that doesn't mean that they can do it as efficiently as a man can. Regardless, what do you guys think about this whole situation? I'm just reporting the news. Do not remove my video. Yeah.
So, just to summarize, in February, the department launched a federal investigation concluding by April that Penn's policies allowed a male athlete to compete in women's sports and use women's locker rooms, thereby violating protections for female athletes. So then Trump did a federal funding pressure to this college. The DOE temporarily froze $175 million in federal research funding to Penn State as leverage. So then they came to a settlement agreement. To resolve the matter, Penn agreed to expunge Lia Thomas's women's record, including the NCAA titles and university records, and restore those titles and records to the original female winners. What do you think about that, Dad? Exactly.
I mean, it's so silly. And the people who suggest that they are for women and women's sports ought to be applauding what just happened.
It goes to show you, they don't really care. All these feminist nonsense they'd be touting, oh, we are all about women and protecting women and all that nonsense. That's not really what they are. They really are just pushing a satanic agenda of we want to promote whatever degeneracy is the flavor of the day. It's not even about protecting women, because you see the feminist, the blue-haired, goofy women, they're all about pushing trans people in their own sports and taking away awards for women. How does this make sense?
Yeah, it does. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all.
It's like, oh man, like I was so happy when I heard that Trump is pushing this, that I was kind of like, I know he's gonna get some backlash for this. And sure enough, I went on TikTok and all these trans people were just crying, tears in their eyes.
Ooh.
I'm like, if y'all don't get out of here, man. That man, go ahead. You gonna say something?
No, Trump hit him where it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
He took the money away, or at least withheld it, and I think he had to do that to get their attention and to get them to be fair and to be right in their policy.
Mm-hmm.
No other way was going to. They are trying to restructure our culture and society, and I'm glad we have somebody standing up against that, saying, "Don't let that happen."
Mm-hmm. It's crazy to me that they've gotten this far to where you can have, and this is why we would have put this in the soy sons of Adam side of things. You got a weak man that's pretending and dressing up like a woman and claiming that he should deserve an award for beating women, and people just let him have it. So he was like, I forgot what he was ranked, something like 233 or
As
something.
a man.
Yeah, as a man.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes to the women's side and beat them and take their awards.
and then proud of it.
Yeah,
Like you really did
standing up there
something.
like, yes,
You
son.
really did something.
If you don't get out of
That's
here,
if you were really competing, then compete with the men. That's what you are. You are a male, then compete with the males.
compete with men. I hope when they took that award back that they snatched it out of his hand. Like, give me that back.
And he probably cried.
He probably, makeup all messed up, eyeliner. Take that makeup off too. You know, some of these people, man, the audacity that we've let it get that far to where people even feel comfortable. They touted this grown man as a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Let him prance around, taking awards from women who worked their whole life to achieve this. Sometimes, you know, some of these girls don't ever get to go pro, and the highest status that they can do is what they achieve in college.
And they legitimately won.
Yeah.
They legitimately deserve all the attribute, all the awards that should be coming their way. And he came in, and just because they want to push this agenda, they let it happen.
Yeah.
It's just sad. I mean, who would have thought that we would not be able to define what a man is and what a woman is, and be that low in our culture that we debate that a man should be competing against a woman?
Do you think this is because, this is a weird question, but do you think this is because of a result of weak men, or is a result of feminist propaganda that's pushing this? Or is it something else?
Well, those two are connected.
Yeah.
Those two are very much connected.
It's a trick question.
You don't have the feminist propaganda without weak men. They wanted us to be ashamed for standing up for something and saying that we are men, and especially men of value, men of character. And so it's not just a man's issue, this transgender nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
It's a human issue. And it's a spiritual issue.
Right.
God determined male and female.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, he created a male and female with those distinctions. And that's the distinction that he made, and he wants us to keep.
Mm-hmm.
We want to blur the line like his creation or the creator has no say. We want to be whatever we want to be. No, your creator made you a certain way.
That's why I think the trans movement specifically is satanic. And I mean, you could argue that every sinful movement is satanic, but I believe this one has a special place in Satanism.
In other words, it's strategically satanic. You know where it's coming from because of what it's trying to achieve.
It's not
but one is trying to do confusion,
Mm-hmm.
and it's trying to promote confusion, and it's trying to destroy all the distinctives that we didn't even talk about
I would
before.
say this, as much as I'm never been a fan of the homosexuality movement or lesbians or anything like that, but one of the things about the trans movement that's even separates from them, a gay dude can say, listen, I have this attraction to another man, but and you may not like it, but I'm still proud of it. And that's wrong. Mm-hmm. But the trans movement is going even further and saying, I demand you lie. It's no longer just what I want to do in the privacy of my home. It's I demand everyone lie. I have to now. When I'm at the reward ceremony, you better clap. You better acknowledge that I won this award as a woman, and that's not just telling you. You stay over there like you used to have, like in the 80s. They used to have their little gay clubs with the gay music and all this stuff. They still got some now. But they're not saying stay over there and do your thing. It's everyone must accept me.
I believe a lie, and I force you to believe and acknowledge the same lie. And I'm saying, no, I'm not acknowledging that lie, and I'm going to fight against that trying to be pervasive in our society. It's destructive. Yeah. It's absolutely destructive. And so now we want to take our children and bring confusion into their development. You don't know who he or she or it is.
And you gotta, I got to explain this to kids. You know, even my kids who are very young right now, they see some of this goofy stuff when we out sometime, and now we got to sit up there and explain that to them. And they never should have had to explain that before, that you see a grown man with muscles wearing a dress, and they know it's wrong. You don't even have to tell them. They just say, Dad, why is that man wearing a dress? And now I got to have a conversation about sexuality that's not intended for a 5 or 6 year old.
Exactly.
And it kind of makes me angry because it's like, you stole that from that child. You stole the innocence when you parade like that in front of them and force them to have these conversations that they're not ready for. And you normalize it too.
And in our development stage, we have some challenges already.
Yeah.
When you are 12 years old, growing into a teenager, where are you in your rank of males or female? You're already fighting this social difficulty, and then they throw this confusion into it. It's just a mess.
It's and the last point that I want to bring up on this, and this is quite important too, because it shows you that the spiritual warfare is not as deep or below the surface as you think. Because what's happening here is, look how quickly UPenn folded. That money, when you take that money away,
money talks.
Yes. And the problem, the thing I seen Latimer Crowder, he covered something on this same issue, but he brought this up and it made me think that he's absolutely right when he brought up, he said, it goes to show you that these organizations are not really strong in what they push. They just go with whatever is going on that will either fund them, give them money, or what society says is okay, which shows how much power the spiritual warfare behind the scene is actually having. Because when you got somebody like Penn State saying, oh, well, now that Trump told us to, we taking all that stuff back. Before they was doing marches, before they were saying we stand on this issue, before they were saying we are allies with the LGBTQ community, before they would not back down, but until the whole movement shifted, now that it shifted in the slightest bit, they all like, well, we need that money.
Right. It's right. It's right for us to use that. It's right for Trump to use that power, because who are they to set the agenda?
Yep.
And then to take our money. It's a public university, right? They're being funded to take our money, our hard-earned money, and then direct what society ought to say, what a male is and what a female is, and who should be able to play with who.
And then punish people who
disagree. Play by our rules.
Yeah.
We are the people. We determine what that's going to be.
Those federal funds come from us.
From us.
You need to answer to us. And if everybody is not in agreement with you, I'm sure there'll come a day where everybody is evil and they totally agree with it. But today, when we have strong men that will stand up against that, then we need to take whatever power we have and use it for good.
Right.
And I think that's what Trump is doing. You may disagree with him or about certain issues, but on this issue, he is 100% right. To take away that money and say, if y'all want to play this game by having grown men beat women in sports, we're taking away that money from you. And I wish more leaders would do things like that.
I agree.